Okay, good afternoon to the early birds who are just logging in or just showing up on YouTube and Facebook. We'll get started as you see the timer in about 4.5 minutes. We'll start right at the top of the hour or closely thereafter. There's a slight delay, a few second delay between my broadcast and YouTube's live feed. So if it's just a few seconds after 1 o'clock, that's probably why there is that delay. Again, we are going to be talking all about making sense of the WordPress loop. And if you've never been on any of my training events over the past 15 years, you will probably have never heard the WordPress loop explained through story like we are going to do today. I hope you're all having a great day. This is just a pre-show right now. We'll start at the top of the hour. This is just the introductory part of understanding the WordPress loop. So at the end of this webinar, I'll explain if you want to go deeper and you want to learn at a more advanced level, what we do over at WP Studio, but I'll leave that till the end of today's little training. It's another scorcher here on the East Coast. Nice, hot, humid, just absolutely miserable to be outside. Hopefully the weather is better wherever you are. So just a little over 2 minutes to go before we get started. Even at an introductory level, I believe everyone who is watching this training webinar, you will understand the WordPress loop in a new way that it makes sense to you. Even if you're not a great PHP coder or you don't understand how the intricacies of the step-by-step elements inside a code or a function, you will understand what the WordPress loop is and why it is so essential for every single WordPress site. Basically, this is the core of what WordPress is and what sets it apart from other content management systems, or one of the ways. So since this is a live broadcast, you can feel free to put messages or questions in the chat, both on Facebook and on YouTube. They should be fed directly to me, and I can answer the questions as we go. So this is not like some other training webinars you may have attended where it's all been pre-recorded, all pre-done. I follow along exactly what you guys are talking about or asking questions during the live event. And if you're in a replay or watching this on just YouTube, you found the video, if you ever have any questions, you can always reach out to me at benjamin@wpstudio.com and let me know, and I'll see if I can respond as soon as possible to you. All right, just a few seconds to go. We'll kick off right when this red button goes away. Well, good afternoon. Welcome back to another live event here at WP Studio. We are broadcasting this live and free for the entire internet to participate in the conversation about trying to make sense of the WordPress loop. The WordPress loop is so important It is one of the main reasons that sets WordPress apart from so many other content management systems. But in order to really understand the WordPress loop, we're going to need to, or I'm going to need to explain this in a manner that no matter what your skill level is, whether you are an expert PHP coder and you can just fire off code at random, or whether you're kind of a hacker, copy paster, or maybe you've never touched PHP at all and you prefer just using a straight page builder to construct your website. This is all fine, but understanding the WordPress loop is vital so that you can kind of give some reasoning or approach WordPress in a more systematic method so you know what you can do with WordPress. So in order for us to do this and make the WordPress loop accessible and understandable to everybody, we're going to take a field trip. That's right. We are heading down to our local Walmart. If you've been on any of my trainings before, you may know where this story is going. I have been teaching the WordPress loop using this illustration for a long time. So we're all on a field trip. We are going to Walmart. But before we enter the store, we're approached by our friendly, neighborly homeless guy who sits out in front of Walmart. And he asks us a question. He says, "Hey, can you go get me deodorant? I can't remember which deodorant it was that is his favorite, but I like deodorant that has the color red on it." So we are now tasked with a life-saving adventure of trying to find red deodorant for our friendly homeless neighbor. So we go to the deodorant aisle at Walmart. Now, I don't know about you or your Walmart, but mine never looks this nice. But for us, we're now looking at all the different pieces, all the different types of deodorant. But we remembered our dear homeless friend said he loves red deodorant. So we start going through the aisle and saying, all right, okay, here's all these red ones. We're not quite sure, but we'll go ahead and take them all. And so we'll take all the red ones, at least, one of each. Maybe there's a red one over here. We want to grab that one. And we now have all these different deodorants in our shopping cart. So what do? After we've got all our items, we're going to go check out. That's right. So the cashier swipes each one, but because we wanted to present this thing to our friendly homeless neighbor, each one of the deodorants gets put into a separate Walmart bag. And so swiped it through, put it in a bag, grabbed the next one, swiped it through, put it in a bag, and we're able to now carry out our stack of bags of different deodorant and bring it to our very happy homeless guy who now has his deodorant, and we're able to present it to him so that he can see all the different deodorants that we have packaged for him. Well, remember what we are talking about today. We are trying to make sense of the WordPress loop. Well, if we are trying to make sense of the WordPress loop, hopefully all of you have realized that the story I just told you, let me actually show you the script I was reading it from. That's right, I was reading the story I just told you. That's the story. Huh. But did you know that this is the story I just told you? The query, WP query, if have post, while have post, the post. This looks like PHP to me. And this actually is WordPress. Well, I will tell you, every single WordPress site has a variation of this type of code in every single theme. Now, some of you might be going, well, this code doesn't have anything to do with deodorant. Well, let's jump back and see if we can understand why I told you this story. So remember, we took that field trip to Walmart and we approached our friendly homeless guy. Well, this is the query. Basically, WordPress has this function that says, hey, I'm going to go get something out of the database, but I need to know what you need. So when we approached this homeless guy and he said, hey, I want some deodorant and it needs to be the color red, well, guess what? Those are the type of arguments that we are passing through to the query to go get me something. Something like deodorant, get me color red. These are all arguments. And then we are saving it in this PHP variable. Well, what then happened? We went to the deodorant aisle and basically we said, oh, this is what he wants us to get. So let's go ahead and grab all those red ones and this red one over here. So if the query have posts, so now we're looking at our shopping basket and we're saying, you know what? If we have any posts, now this could mean if we have any deodorant, like let's say we show up here and there is no red deodorant. It's only dark green, white, blue. Well, the answer to this if statement is asking this question, hey, do you have deodorant? Would be, no, I don't have any in my bag because I didn't find any on the shelf. Well, then we're done because we didn't find what he was looking for. But let's say we did. Here's our red deodorant. We've put it in our shopping basket. So now we can say, while we do have those red deodorants from that query, from the question our homeless guy said, so then we go check out. And remember how when I said that checkout clerk is swiping each one of those deodorants, putting it into a separate bag. That's what's happening here. So the query is grabbing the post or a single piece of deodorant and putting it in there. This is where we are actually looking at the loop. So if we're looking at the loop and we're now packaging each individual item, we're able to then take all that stuff out of Walmart because we've now prepared it in each of those deodorants have their own wrapper, their own bag, and we've been able to deliver it to the homeless guy, and he walks away happy so that the next day he comes, when we reset the post data, he can ask another person another question of what to go into Walmart and get. All right. So if this has been a little bit confusing, what you need to know is that this left one is the one I showed you, the query. Basically, this is in every single theme. You could open up your theme right now, whatever WordPress theme you're using, and whether it's on an index.php or maybe you actually have a loop.php file, there's any number of places it could be, but you will have something that says if have posts, while have posts, the post on the right-hand side. This is the base level of the WordPress loop. Now, why is this on the right different from this on the left? Well, let me just ask you a question. And for those of you who've been working with WordPress for a while, you might know these answers off the top of your head. But by default, if you just install WordPress and you start blogging, writing a few posts, the front page of your WordPress site, and this is basically just default. You haven't put a special custom theme that does something special on the front page. How many posts? Think to yourself, how many posts show up on that front page before you have to go to the next page? If you answered 10, You are correct, because that is a default argument that is always going to be for every default query. So the query is also go into the WordPress database and get me 10 of the latest posts, not the pages, not any other custom post type. Give me 10 of the latest posts that are published. So that's why we don't have to put a query in there, because if you just see if have post while have post the post right here on the right-hand side in the code, it's using the default stuff. If you need to change the default, you change the query. In our story, the query was go into Walmart, aka the database, and get me deodorant, aka posts, that have the color red, aka the category news, and return them to me. That's what's happening here. So that's basically every single time content is requested by a visitor to your website. They come to your page, your home page, your archive page, your 404 page not found page. A query is being run. The WordPress loop is being run. So let me make it a little bit more focused so you can understand this, because I think it makes sense with the shopping trip to Walmart for what the query is. How do you go into the database and get something? But the loop is just one little piece in there. And I like to talk about the loop as a deck of playing cards. So if I were to write a query that says, hey, go into that deck of cards and get me 5 cards. So you get 5 cards. Put them in your hand. Okay, and I'm going to go back and forth between this. So put those 5 cards in your hand. So I want everybody to imagine you have these 5 cards in your hand. Okay? If have cards, even though it says have posts, if have cards, yes, we have 5 cards in our hand. So while we are having 5 cards in our hand, give me the card, a card. So we give the theme the 10 of hearts. The theme then extracts information from just this card, and it's going to be the exact same information. What is the number? What is the suit? What is the color? All these type of things that we can use to describe this card. It would be information that would be on the card. Okay, so that would be, guess what? Post number 1 is the 10 of hearts. So now we go back to our loop. While we have posts, do we still have posts in our cards in our hand? We have 4 of them because we already laid down the 10. So now, since we do have cards in our hand while have posts, give me another card, the post. So we are now going to lay down the Jack of Hearts, which means post number 2 is the Jack of Hearts. See how this goes? We keep going through. Post number 3 would be the Queen of Hearts. Post number 4 would be the King of Hearts. Post number 5 would be the Ace of Hearts. And since now we've laid all the cards down and passed them to the theme, when we come to this loop, while we have posts, do I have any cards in my hand? Any posts in my hand? No, I do not. Well, since I don't have any more in my hand, we are done with this PHP loop, and we can basically continue on down the line in whatever code we've got, and we are done. Because we have now been able to pass all 5 of the cards or the posts where it has gone out and gotten the 10 of hearts, Jack of Hearts, Queen of Hearts. So this would be in the theme, it's choosing to say, this is our post title. This is our post content, post title, post content. The queen is the post title. The hearts is the post content, or however your theme is creating and adding information. So the number of cards and what cards are in your hand depends on that query, because maybe I write a query that's part of the loop. I write a query that says, go get me the 5 top cards in the heart suite, in the suit of hearts. And so that comes back to my hand. So now I have a royal flush in my hand with 5 cards, and the theme can start basically dictating what content is pulled out of the database and what parts of the content are passed to the template for displaying using the template tags. Well, we're not going to get into template tags in this webinar. If you want more information about that type of stuff and how to pull different pieces out, we go into great detail at WP Studio for that. But this is what is happening with the WordPress loop. We are querying the database, getting things out. Now, before we go further and kind of wrap this thing up, this loop, you might think to yourself, oh, well, that makes sense for like the blog post page where we go in to get the database, we have a whole bunch of blog posts, and then we are looping through each individual item. But what about an individual page? So maybe I created a WordPress page called Amazing Loop Information, and I've got tons of content on that page. Well, in the theme uses the exact same loop to get that single page to show, get the database, get the content out of the database. Because remember, with WordPress, all your post titles, your post content, all the stuff you write in the WordPress admin is all stored in the database. It's not stored in like a flat file where we just go request that file and the theme just puts that file up. That's not how WordPress works. Well, let's take a look at this. Let's pretend there's only the Ace of Hearts here. The Ace of Hearts is the page. Well, guess what? In this query, we are probably going to get a query that says, go get me the page ID that has this specific page. And so it returns it. And we start doing this if have posts. Well, yes, I have one post, the Ace of Hearts. Okay, while you have that one post, go ahead and post it. Put it down. Let the theme pass it through and show how to display the content that's part of that card, part of that post. And because that while statement is once we've done publishing or creating that page for WordPress, we say, hey, do you have any more cards in your hand? Well, the answer is no, because our query said only go get me that Ace of Hearts. We no longer have any card in our hand, so the loop is done. So we use the WordPress loop, whether it's for the archive page, search pages, whether it is for a single page or a single post. The loop is always used because the query says what we get out of the database. The loop cycles through all the different ones when we return multiple items. And when we only return one item, like a single page, the loop only has to run once. So that's what makes it really a unique situation where the loop dictates this. So just as a quick reminder, this is what we were talking about today. The WP query consists of 4 main elements. The argument for the query, going back to the original field trip we took. That was the request by the homeless guy for deodorant that had red labels. That's very specific. The query itself was our shopping trip into Walmart to get the deodorant with the red labels. The loop was us checking out of Walmart, and each time the clerk swipes the deodorant and puts it in its own bag, basically that's that bag / wrapper that the theme is using to get the the name of the deodorant, the color, the description, the content on the list, all that type of stuff. And each one of the items is presented with the same bag, the same wrapper. It's just different content in each one. And then finally, when we deliver off the results of our shopping trip to the homeless guy, and he's got the different deodorants in their each separate bag wrappers, he can head off into the sunset perfectly happy. The query gets reset so that the next homeless guy who grabs the next person to walk into Walmart can make their own request. And that is what the WordPress loop is. Now, one of the things that we're doing here at WP Studio is I'm offering these free introductory webinars to try and get some complex concepts out to the general public. But if you want to go deeper, over on WP Studio, and I'm just going to bring over a website here. Over on WP Studio, you can not only sign up for ongoing events, in notifications and other items, just scroll down to the bottom of the page, sign up. I'll let you know about any free events that happen, anything that goes on. But if you want to go a little bit deeper, because see, here in our training events, this is the free one we're in right now. But if you want to go advanced today, in literally just 40 minutes from now, or 35 minutes from now, we're going to spend an hour going much deeper with the WordPress loop and the query. But in order to do that, you got to be a member of WP Studio. And membership is now open with a special discount. If you're looking to do this, now, again, make sure you use the coupon because this is for the life of your subscription. You will always be at the discounted rate. I'd encourage you to head on over there, take a look at the new membership pricing. A few more things are given to you if you're an annual member. But if you don't know what any of those mean, I've spent some time walking through what these are and what it means for you. You can learn about different aspects of this. So if you've enjoyed this type of training and you feel like, hey, I could learn from this type of training, at WP Studio, we're always pushing the direction of what we're going to be doing. And we have over 400 hours of training in the library, which is accessible to you. But if you want to take the WordPress loop further and attend the advanced training class that happens in about 30 minutes, you've got to be a member of WP Studio. You can sign up over on WP Studio. And just in case that you are watching this YouTube stream at a later date, don't worry. Every single thing we do at WP Studio is recorded. So the moment you become a member, you can go watch that advanced WordPress loop training course that we talk about at 2 o'clock. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. And I hope you enjoy, for those of you who are going to join me in just a half hour, our advanced take on on the WordPress loop. So take care. Oh, and as I said in the pre-show, if you guys have any questions about any of these live trainings we do, and you've made it to the end of this little video, you can always email me at benjamin@wpstudio.com with any of your WordPress questions or questions about the training membership. And I will try and get a response off to you as soon as possible. So take care. Have a great rest of the day. Make sure you sign up for that newsletter over at WP Studio so I can let you know about upcoming free events, or just simply subscribe to this YouTube channel, because I will always pre-schedule things normally on a Monday. And if you're signed up or you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, you'll be notified of upcoming scheduled free events. Take care. Have a great rest of the day. And I will see all of you members in about a half an hour.